All right, let's go to quarterbacks now. Obviously, that's been a hot topic since the game on Saturday. I thought that Jaden Daniels gutted it out and gave it everything he had. I thought he was really good in the first half. We said all week last week, if LSU's going to win this game, you gotta throw the football. You can't sit back there and play patty cake. You can't try to run your way to winning against this Georgia team. You got to get rid of it and let these guys try to go make some plays. And Jaden Daniels did that. He got the ball out quickly. He threw the ball down the field, and LSU made some plays in the passing game because they've got really good wide receivers. Jaden finished the game 16 of 24 for 208 yards and a half. And the pick he threw was a fluke. He protected the ball. He got rid of the ball. He made some plays, took some shots. I thought he did a good job on one leg. He was hobbled and toughing it out. And I thought Brian Kelly made the right call. Say, hey, we appreciate it. You grinded it. We're going to go to the next guy. And Garrett Nussmeier, he was exactly what we've said he was since we laid eyes on him in the spring a year and a half ago. He's not scared. He's talented. And he's probably going to make some plays and mess up. And he made some plays and messed up. Now, I will put in – I think there is an element to it that was a little bit of garbage time. Now, LSU got down there before that 4th and 1 when they got stopped and had a chance to get right in the game. But there's an element that was a little bit of garbage time, but there's also an element of this. That's the best defense in the country. So I think when you weigh those two things, it equals. It actually probably lends more towards best defense in the country for some of the mistakes that he may have made. But he goes 15 of 27 for 294, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and showed that arm strength, showed the arm talent, takes the big deep shot to Malik Neighbors. He's just going to go. He's going to sling it. And I thought he did a really good job and showed what he can be. Jaden Daniels is never going to have quite the arm strength of Garrett Nussmeier. He can develop to read defenses and to make plays down the field. He's done it at times, just not as consistently as you would like for a guy who's played that much football. Garrett Nussmeier's got more arm talent, but he's never going to be able to run like Jaden Daniels could and can. So the ceiling is higher with Daniels. Now, personally, I enjoy a quarterback who's going to go through progressions and make throws more than a guy who's going to try to lean on his legs and run a little bit. I think that is a characteristic that will win at a higher level than having great wheels. I think if you put the fastest guy on a high school field, all of a sudden that becomes a little bit more important. But you start to play at the elite level of college football, you got to win throwing the football down the field. You got to win from the pocket more often than not. You can run, sure. But you got to win from the pocket more often. And I think Garrett's ceiling there is a little bit higher. And I thought he looked really good for the most part. Now, keep in mind, we are in an era here where in the SEC last year, we'll just go back to last year. Zach Calzado is a starting quarterback at A&M. No, because of injury, but he was a starting quarterback. He left. Max Johnson was a starting quarterback at LSU. He left. Bo Nix was a starting quarterback at Auburn. He left. This was happening all over the league. Connor Bazelak, starting quarterback from Missouri for 2 years. He left. And I just told you at the top of the show that 6 ACC starting quarterbacks have transferred out or announced they're in the transfer portal. Devin Leary at NC State. Keaton Slovis at Pitt. DJ Uiagalelei. These are starting quarterbacks that have transferred out. So it's a very volatile time to talk about next year's quarterback at LSU. I can give you my thoughts on these two guys, and they're in different situations. Jaden Daniels can come back and compete for the starting job. He could move on to the NFL and take his chance there. Garrett Nussmeier may look at Jaden Daniels coming back, say, hey, I played really well in that game. I'm going to compete with this guy and stick around. He may decide Jaden's coming back. He's going to be the starter. I'm out of here. He may decide Jaden's leaving for the NFL and I'm out of here. How are you supposed to know? But he put some good things on tape on Saturday, and we'll see what this bowl game looks like. Brian Kelly was on with the media yesterday and said, look, Jaden's going to need 10 days to 2 weeks here before he can practice. So we'll give Garrett some reps, and he needs to rest because that ankle injury is significant. We get that. But I don't know who's going to play against Purdue. Last year, your starting quarterback left before the bowl game. So, like, I haven't spoken to these guys. I don't have any inside sources I can go to there. Like, I don't know what the future is. But it certainly was encouraging to me to see both of those guys against a really good defense stand in there and throw the football successfully. They threw for 502 yards. That's impressive. And I don't think that you can just throw it all into garbage time because that's not the way that it went. When you look at the first half for Jaden, he threw it for 211 yards, 16-26. And then Nuss came in there and took the momentum of the game over. And that was good to see because his game against Arkansas last year, while it wasn't ideal circumstances, they gave Max the first drive, and then they threw him in there and said, well, we're just going to ride it out with you. And that's just a tough spot to be in. And this is a tough spot to be in. But he probably had an inkling he was going to be able to go in the game because Jaden was hurt all week long. So I think moving forward this month, we'll have some discussions. We'll see. The transfer portal's open. Either one, I mean, somebody go in the transfer portal in the next 5 minutes, and that will change our talking points totally. But it was good to see Garrett Nussmeier get in there and throw the football around. It gives you some hope that potentially if Jaden Daniels decides to move on, Garrett could be a leader of this football team. And he's tough as nails. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a great arm. Now, he's fearless, and you saw that, and he forced it a couple times. And even the touchdown he threw to Neighbors on his first touchdown was right over the hands of an outstretched defender that may have picked it off. But the more reps you get and you understand those windows, maybe you tighten things up. He looked like a guy that would throw 12 to 15 interceptions on Saturday, but again, you have to throw it on every play, and that defense is really good. So I thought it was enjoyable to watch him play, and I think LSU is in a pretty good spot as far as quarterbacks go. Again, they could both leave, and then you're left with Walker and whatever you can grab with Ricky Collins in the transfer portal, and there are a million quarterbacks in the transfer portal. It's just an odd, interesting time. But I thought Nussmeier played well, and that's a takeaway that I want to have.